Welcome. Episode 8 of Draft Ninja Championship Team. This one is ADP 8, obviously. The guy we're going to take in the first round, this one's going to be building a championship team around Derrick Henry. Now, I understand he's older. I understand he's 31. But guess what? They say running backs usually crap the bed by 28, and he's just been cooking everybody since 28. So clearly, age isn't a factor for Henry. And if I'm drafting 8, I'm perfectly fine with Henry here, too. Um, and so we will take him. We'll see how this goes. Now, I understand fully that I am going to be different than most people here. Um, Obviously, the roster is quarterback, two running backs, three wide receivers, tight end, flex, kicker, defense. I understand why people would have reservations about Derrick Henry. I understand why people would have reservations about Christian McCaffrey. I don't care. Here's why. I think right here, if the draft falls you this way, you have to take Christian McCaffrey. And here's why. If they stay healthy, big if, Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey can single-handedly win you your fantasy league. Now, again, that is an if because injuries are a problem. Here's the thing, though. Injuries are a problem for everybody, right? Saquon got an incredible workload last year. Nobody's talking about him. Bijan, he got a decent workload last year. Nobody's talking about him. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's explosive. What if he gets hurt? Every one of these players in the draft can get hurt. And if you're going to play the what if game, here's my thought. If you are right and Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, you still have Derrick Henry, right? And you've got to steal Christian McCaffrey in the second round. If he doesn't get hurt, you will be ruining the day you pass on Christian McCaffrey. Which would you rather have, right? You're right, and you draft him and you're only out a second round pick, or you're wrong and you had Christian McCaffrey in your lap. If he's healthy, a one of one player, right? The first overall pick in fantasy. So I don't care about injuries. Injuries are the past, they're not the future. 49ers know how to use them. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey. You have the two best running backs in football here. I'm not worried about that at all. And you're still going to have some good receivers falling your lap here. So we're going to take Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, 1 and 2. Now, this is how the draft falls. I think this is perfect. Jackson Smith and Jigba is there. I think he's an absolute stud. Again, Metcalf's gone. Cup is in. I don't think that'll matter too much. You look at him last year, wide receiver 14. If you have Henry and McCaffrey here as your running back 1 and 2, he can easily be a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, and you can supplement him with, boom, Garrett Wilson. I understand nobody's huge on the Jets. He had a bad year last year, right? Wide receiver 15. So I understand nobody loves Jackson Smith-Njigba. Nobody loves Garrett Wilson, as your top two receivers, but they're both serviceable. They're both high-end wide receiver 2s, and any week can be wide receiver 1. And again, when your running backs are Henry and McCaffrey, that is more than sufficient. So I really like how this has started out. No bye week overlaps either. So we will see how the rest of this draft comes. Maybe we go wide receiver. Maybe we go running back. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting because there aren't a lot of great options here, right? Chuba Hubbard, do you trust him? Do you trust DJ Moore? Rashee Rice suspended, right? Dave Montgomery. Got a lot of questions here. And for me, I think there's a perfect place to take Chuba Hubbard. I understand a lot of people probably don't like him, probably don't want him, but he's a stud. He's an absolute stud, and he's going to get love in Carolina. Carolina's team is good. And if you're worried about McCaffrey and Henry getting hurt, Hubbard's more than serviceable running back 2, possibly even running back 1. So now, quick turnaround, boom, Devontae Smith. I don't even need to talk about it. Devontae Smith as your wide receiver 2, I don't love that, right? As your wide receiver 3, love it. And again, as I've always said, as a wide receiver 3, when you have Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, even better. So looking at this team, you got 3 running backs, you got 3 wide receivers. Your pick is up again. And this is where you can really go wherever you want, right? So if you're at this pick and you're still going, I don't trust running back, you got Aaron Jones right there. If you're thinking, maybe I want to go tight end, you got Mark Andrews right there. You got Bo Nix, Joe Mixon, Tony Pollard. For me, I think this is a good place to get Mark Andrews. I think he's a good player. Um, I understand a lot of things about him, a lot of knocks on him. Isaiah Likely, I get, um, but he's a good player. And as the let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seventh tight end off the board, I love him. And you look at the other tight ends, McBride, Kittle, Laporta, that are above him. Those guys are better than him. Are they so much better that they're worth 2 or 3 rounds ahead of him? Right? Would you rather have Trey McBride and Debo Samuel, or Mark Andrews and Garrett Wilson? I'm taking Mark Andrews and Garrett Wilson every time. Um, I think you can wait a little bit on tight ends this year, and that's what we're going to do there. So now it's running back, wide receiver. Hey, who do you want? Who do you want? Judkins, I'm out on. He hasn't even signed a contract. There's too much going on there for him, for me. So now we're in the eighth round. Usually I like sitting on quarterback, but I like Bo Nix here. I really do. I think you look at the rest of the board, right? Mixon's on pup, Jerry Judy, Chris Olave, Caleb Johnson. I don't love those picks, right? And you have 3 running backs, you have 3 wide receivers, you have a tight end. You don't need to force it and reach on somebody. Just take the best available here. And I think the best available is Bo Nix. I have too many question marks about Baker Mayfield with the offense coordinator leaving. I think he'll be great. I want to put that in perspective. I think he'll be great, but I think that loss of Liam Cohen does take him a little below um, Bo Nix. So now we'll see how it works out to us. Really would have liked Jordan Addison there, but he's not a guy I like right here, Travis Etienne. But I also like Stephon Diggs, right? He's going to be the wide receiver one for that team. I understand. I said that a lot. I understand. I get that people might not like him, but again, Stephon Diggs, your wide receiver four here. I'm perfectly fine with that. New England's got a better offense. They got good offensive line now. I'm fine with that. And then I think here, you can go wide receiver, running back. Running back, don't love it. You can wait on running back. So I'm going to go Emeka Buka. A lot of good things coming out from him. I understand Mike Evans is there. I understand Chris Godwin seems to be coming along better than people think. Week 4, 6, they say for a return, but Buka's still going to be a good player. I think he's still going to put up some good performances. So now you can completely understand you go into running back. And if you're worried about how risky your running backs are, go to a safe bet. And you're going to hate me for saying this, but it's Javonte Williams. He's a starter for Dallas. Dallas' offense is going to be better. He's got a better scheme around him. Tough that Charbonnet just got picked before we could pick again. I would have loved Javonte Charbonnet, but it didn't happen. And now you go best available, right? You got 4 running backs. You got 5 receivers. Like, you're good. You're good here. You're really good. I'm going to go Nick Chubb. Again, give yourself a chance. If you're going to go balls to the wall on the running back with Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, give yourself some great backups. Javonte, Nick Chubb. Low ceiling, but high floor. And that's what I like about those guys. So now it's going to come to us again. We got 2 picks left. And, we still have Jack Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Stephon Diggs, and Mecca Ibuka. Put him on your pup list. I said he's my guy in a lot of teams. Brandon Ayuk. Worst case scenario, you drop him, right? But 13th round pick, can he be a wide receiver 2 or 1 for you? Love it. And then second last pick, I'm going to go with Trey Benson. I love Trey Benson. I think, I know the Cardinals have the easiest strength of schedule amongst running backs. That's great. Again, if Connor gets hurt, he becomes a running back 1 or 2. I love him there. And now with our last pick, who do we take here? There's some good options here, some decent options. I'm not as huge on Bill Krosky and Mercedes as people are. I really don't get the hype. I don't understand it. But one guy I do get the hype on, and I think he's going to be great early on, and then you trade him, Adam Thielen. Obviously traded back to Minnesota. He knows Minnesota. Minnesota knows him. I think he's going to be great there first couple weeks. Trade him away once Addison gets back. He'll get a good return on him. All that for the last pick in your draft, right? And people are saying, well, you don't have a kicker, you don't have a defense. Well, Brandon Ayuk is on the pup list. Put him into IR. You pick up a kicker or defense, and maybe you can trade with somebody else for the last, trade a player uh, for a good deal if somebody goes down for the season. Or you can just drop any of these players really before the season starts, and you won't be out really anything. So I really like this team. Again, I understand it's an if that, if Derrick Henry stays healthy, if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, I get it. But if they do, you have one of the most fun teams you've ever had. You can talk for years about how you had Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey and Jackson Smith and Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith and Mark Andrews and Bo Nix, And we're all about fun stories and having fun. You know, you take risks, but you also take safe options. I understand we took some risks at running back. But we have safe options in Javante and Nick Chubb, and Trey Benson. We got a lot of wide receivers you can trade for. Chuba Hubbard at the flex, right? That's a safe option as well. So I really do think this is a great championship team that you can build from the eighth spot. Again, I love Christian McCaffrey in the second round. If you can take him, get him. Worst case scenario, he gets hurt. You know what? You shot for the stars. Tell me, you take out McCaffrey from this team, put in Chuba Hubbard there. Are they the clear-cut championship team? No, but they're still going to be a contender, and they're still going to be a really good team. So don't worry about Christian McCaffrey in the second round. Take him if you can. That's how you build a championship team around Derrick Henry. As always, like, subscribe, check out our other videos. If you don't have the eighth pick, hey, that's fine. We have a video for all these draft picks. Follow us on Flurry Sports. Follow Zach Bruner, Luke Reimer, me, Trevor Land on Twitter. We will catch you all later. Have a good one, guys.
Fuck yeah!